Me queda 1% y lo usaré solo para decirte lo mucho que lo siento. Que si me ven con otra en una disco solo es perdiendo el tiempo. Baby, ¿pa' qué te miento?
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode and another season of the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Dropping Dimes, A.K.A the Hopeful Romantic, A.K.A the Feminist with Chauvinist tendencies. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome everybody back, man. You know, I took a couple weeks off just to relax, get some stuff straightened out, really try to take a deeper dive into the subject that I talk about, and have a couple of more conversations and really just rededicate myself to the coaching part of this venture that I'm on. And man, it's blown my mind, and I've been excited to get back on the mic just to talk about some of the things, man. It's amazing how everybody has a story. Everybody has a story, man. Some people have beautiful stories, where the marriage worked and it's been beautiful their whole lives, and they raised children, and where they are now and how they're able to really enjoy this part of their life. And then you have people that unexplainably just grew apart, and they don't know what happened, how it happened, when it happened. And, they're just together for their children, and they're just hoping that, they can get past these couple of years where they can start living their life again. And I've met people that, straight up, the person that the love of their life passed away. After years of being married together, the love of their life passes away, and they have to start all over again. And they have to figure it out. They don't know, which way is up. And technology has changed, and people have changed, and everything has changed around them, and they don't know, and they're little scared to go back out into the world. One of the things that kept popping up is I've met a lot of people that are in toxic relationships. I mean, I don't mean relationships that have hard times. I always say during the good times, you gain happiness in a relationship. During the hard times, if a couple is both invested, you should gain wisdom. And I've always liked to, when I talk about, problems with relationships and issues with couples, I always like to address it a lot like kids learning math. When kids learn math, the teacher insists that they show the work. No shortcuts to the answer. I need to see the work. And it's funny because when I talk to people and I have conversations about love, relationships, a lot of times when they come to me, they come to me with an answer they already have in their head. And what they're looking for me to do is confirm that what they're feeling is correct. And I don't do that. I like to see how you came up to that conclusion. How did you come to that point in your life? Show me the work. Why do I go through that process with people? I go through that process because I find that if you're able to do the work, you'll always be able to get back to the answer. It's like when somebody's taking a test, I always recommend don't study the question, study the answer. Study the answer, because the question can change. It could take different shapes. It could take different forms. Just like problems in your relationship could take different forms, different ways you could attack. One day it's communication, next day it's sex, next day it's. But if you study the answer, you'll always be able to identify the problem. Like I said, if you study the questions can come in so many forms and change the wording and change the way they say it that it can confuse you. But if you study the answer, whenever something attacks your relationship, whenever it comes at you, you guys have studied the answer together. That's where you gain the wisdom. And now and only now can you attack whatever's trying to take you guys down. And you'll always be able to come to the answer. Once you show me the work, you'll always be able to get to the right answer. As opposed to me helping you get to the answer, never really identifying the steps necessary to get there. So once you come to me and we start to talk, I realize that there's a pattern of behavior with people that are in toxic relationships. And I'm not just going to talk about the usual, the normal ones that you know about, narcissistic behavior, possessive, jealous. Those are the ones that are pretty clear cut. You can pay, you see it coming, you know what it is. I got one that came across that I was like, it blew my mind because I had never really paid attention. A little drink. I had never really paid attention to this portion. So in a relationship, I always like to talk to men. There are men who are negative. So when a woman comes to you with an issue, a situation, problem, something that's making her feel unsafe, something that's making her feel insecure, something that's bothering her, there's a lot of guys out there that ignore it, don't pay attention to it. We've talked about that to death. The importance of not ignoring the noise and really paying attention to the silence. You know what I'm saying? We talked about to the death of it, where I think by now people can recognize that. But then there's the flip side. And this is something I did not know. I did not know that being overly confident can be just as bad. That when your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever comes to you, and you give them the whole, no, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. Oh, no, we good. We taking care. Don't worry about it. For some, that's reassurance. For some, that makes them feel comfortable. That makes them feel good. That's, wow, this is beautiful. Okay, I get it. Thank you. Thank you for addressing it and making me feel safe. I didn't know that for so many, that attitude is dismissive. That attitude grabs a problem that you feel is really, really important and invalidates it. It literally grabs a problem that's stressing you out, that's worrying you, and it's oversimplifying it. I didn't know that overconfidence, right? Over positivity can also be a toxic trait. It could also be a toxic trait. So we know negativity. We know not paying attention. We know ignoring people's feelings. We know that is toxic. We know that's wrong. But did you know, especially as a man, that being overly positive or overly confident can also be a toxic trait? Did you know that? I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't know that. It literally grabs something that keeps people up at night, keeps somebody up at night. And when they're coming to you and they need actual solutions, they need actual tangible, just like I said, solutions. They need things, steps, the direction. If all you say is, nah, we got this, don't worry about it. For somebody that needs a plan, for somebody that needs active communication, for somebody that needs steps, that likes to make lists, that worries and is heavy on communication, yo, that's a nightmare. That is a nightmare. So, like, I'll give you an example. The rent is due. Okay, the rent is due. And you're talking to your spouse, your significant other, and they look at you and you're like, yo, the rent is due on the first, and yo, I'm stressed because blah, blah, blah. We don't have it, and this came up, and the kids, and da. And they look at you and they're like, yo, don't worry about it. We good, man. We good. We're good. My number one question that pops up is, wait, how are we good? What do you mean? Now, if you're not giving me the answer and all you're trying to tell me is calm down, yo, relax, yo, you stress too much, that's not a solution to me. That doesn't help me at all. That raises my anxiety. There's a difference. You know what I mean? And what I found is that, yo, that could do as much damage as, I don't know, what are we going to do? It's up to you. Oh my God, this sucks. We're going to lose our house. We're going to lose our, it's as bad as being negative. And I don't know about you guys, but that shit blew my mind. I didn't know that. I always was of the approach like, yo, we good. Nah, I believe in myself. I believe in this situation. I believe in my hustle. I know we're going to get past this. Right? We're going to figure this out. Maybe I don't have it right here, right now, but we're going to get it. We got this. You know what I'm saying? If I got to go strip for money, I don't care. Right? That's just how you think when you're a hustler, when you're a guy that's really on his shit, like, yo, I'm going to make it happen. But the truth is, that's not enough, man. So if you're coming from that direction, what people want to hear is, especially like I said, like my daughter's a Virgo. My daughter's a Virgo. And if I give her, nah, it'll be all right, but I don't point out how, I don't show her the steps on what we're going to do, how we're going to take care of it. I don't give her, I don't let her into my brain to see what the next step is. Her anxiety is through the roof. She loves me. She believes me, but her anxiety is through the roof. You know what I mean? And what you're not realizing, what you're doing to your spouse, to your significant other, is you're raising their level of anxiety by not letting them into your thought process. Sometimes it's as simple as letting them see what you see. For instance, they're upset and they're looking to you for the answer, what's going on, whatever. It's really easy to be like, yo, stop, let me think. Right? And they're getting mad because they're not letting you think. That's easy. But I challenge you to stop and say, okay, look, this is what I see, so here's what I'm trying to figure out. That step right there will get you a lot farther than keeping to yourself and trying to come up with the answer. And I know, man, I've preached this before. We're guys that try to, when we find a problem, a real man, not no punk that's just on some bullshit. Real man, not no boy. What we do is we find a problem, and what we do is we try to trim the fat on the problem before we present it to our spouse or our significant other. That way, we, in our minds, we're not making them panic before they have to, stress before they have to. We're kind of giving them everything to the point where we can't handle it anymore. This is where it's at. Now, here's the problem we have. A lot of times women, what they take it as, you should have given me the benefit of the doubt. You should have given me the benefit of the doubt. We could have dealt with this together early. Right? I think that's a short-sighted way of looking at it. Maybe this is the chauvinist, feminist part of me. The chauvinist with feminist tendencies. Because I'm a believer in, no, I'm not giving you the problem yet. Because I don't need the external noise, the bitching, the moaning, the being pissed off, the being angry, your version of anxiety. I don't need that right now. Let me figure this out first. And let me get to the point where now, if you're anxious, you're mad, you're whatever, I can accept it because now you're right. Now it's time to stress it out a little bit. You know, and some problems are fixable prior to that. Some aren't. Or some are not worth telling you so that you don't have to bug out. And we could fix it. And then when I get to you, everything's kind of smooth and easy. So being overconfident is just as bad as being negative. Being overconfident could be dismissive. Being overconfident really disregards how seriously somebody can feel about something. So be careful when you're in a relationship and a man is overly confident. Don't get me wrong, a lot of times that comes from love because they don't want you to stress. But the truth is, remember this. It's also a sign that you're not being heard. And one of the most important things in a relationship early, especially, is to be heard. Not him, not just heard, but the person to listen. This person to listen. So we covered that part of being overly confident. I know a lot of you are wondering, like, wow, Mike, what is that? That's not. I never thought of it that way, but I hope that gives you another angle and gives you another avenue to look at it and really understand what I'm trying to say. Let's recognize another sign of a toxic relationship. Another sign of a toxic relationship. When you first meet somebody, you put on a persona. I don't care who you are. People talk about, nah, I keep it real. I'm who I am. Shut up. Everybody and their mother puts on a face that you show the world. The Japanese say there's three faces. There's the face that you show the world, there's the face that your family knows, and there's the dark face that only you know. You know what I mean? So naturally, it's just this thing. I know in my life, I'll tell you how it comes. I meet a woman that tells me she doesn't like to cook. I don't like to cook. I don't like to do any of that shit. And then in the first couple of months with me, they're acting like Susie Homemaker. And I'm like, oh, okay, wow, this is nice, thanks. I'm not really this type of dude that needs this, but this is really sweet. And then a couple of months in, they're like, no, I don't want to. They're very resentful that they did that. And I look at them like, I didn't ask you to do that. You did that on your own. So it can only be short-lived. And don't get me wrong, like a lot of times you want to be a certain person. That's who you want to be, but it's just not in you all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's just not in you to be that full time. So one of the things I talk about to spotting a toxic relationship is to make sure that you're not meeting their representative. How do you do that? $1 million question. How do I make sure I'm not meeting their representative? Simple. Examine their lifestyle. See, in the beginning, I always talk about the difference between lust and love. Lust, and in the beginning, you're excited, you're infatuated. That is selfish. You're literally looking at this person and you're asking yourself, what can they do for me? How do they care about me? How do I feel when I'm around them? The dopamine flowing. How am I excited? Am I happy? Do I get butterflies? When that mask comes off and you have to see the real them and you see the darkness, can you love their darkness? The light is easy to love. Can you love the darkness? If you can love that darkness, that starts to become a selfless love. That's love. It's selfless. It's I love you for you. I don't love you despite your quirks and the things you do. I love you because that makes you unique. It makes you special. The rose glasses are taken off. And how do you get to that point? Usually your best friend is time. Time reveals everything. You know what I mean? It goes from, oh, I'm the leader of my family. I'm one of the go-tos and the most responsible to, oh, he's the black sheep. It goes from, yo, I'm a neat freak. I need everything. And then you go to their house and you're like, yo, there's hair all over the sink in the bathroom. Yo, that bathroom mat looks like it hasn't been changed in, whew, holy shit. Man, these are the same bed sheets you had on the other, you know what I mean? These are things you got to look at. Because in the beginning, everybody, like I said, yo, she's like, oh, I love to cook. This is my recipe to whatever. And every time she cooks that one meal, the chicken Alfredo. And you're like, hey, what is this? You said you cook. You cook. You made chicken Alfredo 5 times. Well, that's not cooking. You know what I'm saying? There's always hints. There's always signs. There's always things that you could see and look at. Always. You know what I mean? But like I said, we got to take the rose-colored glasses off early. Because these are things that are going to rear their ugly head later on. You know, time is the best thing because it reveals things like you ever take a long ride in a car with somebody? That shit will tell you everything you need to know about someone. That long ride in the car when you're pissed off, angry, sad, hungry, all these emotions, and you watch how they react. They say you get to know somebody when they have everything and when they have nothing. I double down on that. I'm like, yeah, you get to know everybody when they're hungry or when they're full, when they're tired, when they're wide awake, when they have energy, when they're drained. Pay attention to who they are. Like in the words of Maya Angelou, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Absolutely believe them. So understanding the representative and getting past that is another way to get past another sign of toxicity. To avoid it. To avoid yourself being in a relationship a year, 2 years. And now he's putting hands on you Now he's spending all your money. Now he's on drug. He's been on drugs. Now he has all this shit behind him, and you're wondering how you got there. You're wondering how you got there because in the first 6 to 8 months of the relationship, it was all about how you were being treated, and you never really paid attention to who he was and what they were. You were infatuated with how they made you feel. You're the only one to blame. People are quick to say, oh, he was charming, and he did this, and he did that. And then as we have the conversation and we go back, all the signs were there. It was your perspective. So signs of a toxic relationship, how to recognize it early on is to take your rose-colored lenses off. Take a step back. Sometimes listen to the critics. If there's a friend that normally gives you good advice and they're telling you, hey man, something's off, don't dismiss it. Pay attention to what they're saying. I'm not saying, yo, look, listen to their advice. But also pay attention to what they're saying, because if that situation or that scenario pops up later, you could always say, oh shit, they told me, yeah, you know what, this is recognizable behavior right here. I gotta make sure I put my awareness on it. Another sign of a toxic relationship, or the signs of an early signs of toxicity. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of heat from the guys. The minute a man asks you what you bring to the table, or he tries to dismiss your value in a relationship, or about having a relationship, the minute he tries to diminish a woman's role, the minute he tries to devalue your standards, walk the hell away. Walk the hell away. Ladies, listen to me. Men are like water. We are like water. We take the path of least resistance. Our job on this earth is to make our life easy. So when you come to me with standards, when you come to me with boundaries, when you come to me with, whatever it is that you come to the table, right? My job is to challenge it and have you either push the respect line back, lower the standard, lower the bar. That's my job. My job is to push until you lower that to the point where it's reasonable for me and that can be easy. And it can be easy. I always say the only man that complains about the standard is the man that cannot reach the standard. And it sucks because I've been the guy that couldn't meet the standard. And I thought, hey, man, this is it. This is the one. Da-da-da-da. And if you can't meet the standard, you can't meet it. Go back to the lab, work on yourself, become the best version of you, and then come back. Revisit the situation at a later date. If you can do that, who knows? Who knows? The truth is, and I'll say this from the mountaintops, a man who approaches you as a business is not afraid of the loss. A man who approaches you as a business is not scared of the loss. You know what I mean? So what I tell you is this. He's not scared of the loss. What he needs is for you to keep your standard and understand that when a man cares about you and a man loves you, he does not ask you what you bring to the table. You become the table. You become the reason for him to fight another day. You become an additional inspiration. You become his muse to get to the next level. That's who you become. You become his why, one of his whys. You shouldn't be his only why. His success should be inner. It should be from him. But when you come on to the picture, you should be that extra push. You should be that why. You should be that like I said, you become the table. You become that additional reason. So don't fall for that. I get why those guys exist, why those people come, and there's this new version of man has really taken off. There's books on women deserve less and all that stuff. And let me tell you something. When people ask me about these guys, I always say the guys that are preaching that are necessary. They're necessary. Why are they necessary? They're necessary because there's a group of men that have been hurt. There's a group of really good guys out there that put their heart on the line, were vulnerable, and said, you know what? I'm going to give my all this time. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to open myself up to love. And they did it with the wrong person. And what that person did was that person was turned off, dried up, and basically looked at them and said, yo, you're acting like a bitch. And what those guys do is they grab that vulnerability, that humility, that love, and they shove it down their throat, and they create a persona, creates a monster. And that monster that can't love, doesn't care for anyone else, doesn't want to be with anybody else. It says, I am a monster. I am cold. And I will never suffer like I suffered that day. I will never hurt like I hurt that day. And it becomes a giant defense. That's why it's so popular right now. Because a lot of hurt guys were looking for defense. A lot of guys that were quote unquote simps. A lot of guys that were too nice, were friend zoned. What did they do? They said, nah, man, I can't feel that pain again. I refuse. I refuse to feel that pain again. This is not happening. And they looked for a mentor. And yeah, they found him. They found a mentor. And I promise you, that all comes from a place of hurt. But it's necessary. It's necessary because those same guys need to grow a spine. Those same guys need to grow, for lack of a better term, balls. And if this is how they're going to do it, hopefully in time, as they mature, they realize that that's not a perfect scenario. It's not a perfect answer. It's just part of the answer. And as you mature, you realize, oh, there's a middle ground. Respect yourself. Put yourself first. Make sure that you understand, your worth. But give your all. But understand that a good woman adds value. A good woman's a vitamin, not a drug. All that. It's necessary. It's necessary because, and on the flip side of that, empowering women is necessary. Because so many women have dealt with toxicity. They've dealt with a man who cheated, put their hands on them, was verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, used them, manipulated. These are two different ends of the spectrum. On this end, it's happening to the guys. On this end, it's happening to the women. So what do? They become hard. They grab that femininity and they hide it. They say, no, I have to be strong, tough, because I can't rely on a man. I can't count on him. More importantly, I cannot trust a man. Why does that usually come out? The same reason it happened on the other end. It comes out because I trusted someone, I loved someone, I put it all in line for them, and they crushed me. And I don't want to feel that feeling again. I don't want to go through that again. That hurt too much. So that's why you have the two different ends. You have the guys being taught to be hard and don't care and move on and be tough. Then you have the one over here, women. Empower yourself. F men. You don't need that shit. Da, da, da. But like I always say, most of us, we land right in the middle. We land right in the middle, man, where there's a giant gray area where, you know what? I'm going to be protective of my feelings. I'm going to have standards. I'm going to have boundaries. I'm going to respect the woman's boundaries and her standards. And if I see value in her, that hurdle, I'm going to try to climb that hurdle. And I'm going to cross that river. And I'm going to climb that mountain. And I'm going to show her that, you know what? I'm a great man standing on my own. But when we're together, we can take this to the next level. We can climb together. And with her inspiration, with her assistance, with her vision, my vision, or her vision, or with our planning together, with our strength, we're stronger together. That's the point you want to get to. And that's why those two are necessary. Those two are necessary, but the people in the middle, that's where most of us land. Most of us are at the point, we just want a partner, man. We just want somebody to add to what we have. Like, we busted our ass, we've gotten to where we got to, and now what we're looking for is somebody, a co-captain. Or, you know what I'm saying? A co-captain. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for another child. We're not looking for somebody to drag with us. We're looking for somebody that when I don't see it, you see it. We're not looking for somebody that when I don't have it, they don't have it either. No, you have it or I don't. It could bounce back and forward. When I'm weak, you're strong. When you're strong, when I'm strong, you're weak. And it's okay. We have each other's back. And we're here for each other. And sickness, health, that's what most of the population is here for. You know what? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick break for a quick commercial. And I want to, as always, talk about one of my favorite subjects. And this is Queen Meat. In this life, some people are in a rush to reach their destination, while others prefer to enjoy the ride. Some drink to get drunk, and some savor the taste of fine wine or a good meal. If you're on the latter, sit back and delight in a unique journey with Queen Meats International. Our scents and unique infusion methods are designed to take the proverbial edge out of life. Queen Meats' number one goal is to guide you down a more sophisticated and gentle hemp experience. Perfect for meditation, yoga, or turning down the stress of daily life. Backed by hours of research, our candles are made from a unique blend of imported oils and a wick that burns slower and cleaner to get the most out of your investment. If you are someone who enjoys the finer things in life, we would love to be your introduction to the high life. You can find us on Instagram at Queen Meats International. You can also email at queenmeats@gmail.com or at queenmeats@gmail.com or at queenmeats.com. Definitely check us out, especially Father's Day coming up. I know Mother's Day would have been a great opportunity to put those out there. You're going to love it. Trust me, man. It's a phenomenal product, and you will definitely enjoy it. I always have mine. I light mine up a couple of times a week and just chill back and relax. I also want to talk about not losing yourself in relationships. And you see this at all different phases, a bunch of different phases. You see people that lose themselves in the dating phase. You see people that lose themselves in the relationship phase, right? And you see people lose themselves even in the marriage phase. And it looks different in each way. I always advise people, man, make sure you keep an identity. Make sure you keep an identity. The reason that's important is because I know what communication means to women in a relationship. I'm learning what it means to a woman in a relationship. And it's important to keep your identity because there needs to be fresh topics and new things to talk about. I see this all the time, man. I see a couple where they get engulfed and entrenched in life, and he literally knows when she goes to the bathroom, when she walks over to this, when she does that, And when she sits down to talk to him, a lot of what they're talking about is based on things they already know, they already see. There's nothing fresh, there's nothing brand new, unless she starts to talk about other people and other people's lives. It's important to have things to talk about from about your life, new things to share about your life and what's going on with you. You know, think of it like this: you're in a relationship, and you go to your man, you're like, or your woman, or whatever. You're talking to her, and you're like, yeah, because the boiler broke. He's looking at you like, yeah, I'm the one that called the repairman. And then I got on and I did 20 minutes on the Peloton. No, you didn't. You did 18. I saw you. And then dinner was really good, but I know I ate it. You know what I mean? These are the conversations that people that spend way too much time together have. And I advise you, hey, listen, get your own life. Even if it's you go to the gym for an hour a day. Even if it's a hobby that you have. One girl's night a week. And guys, it's beneficial to you. Don't be selfish. Don't be insecure. That time away from you, that fresh couple of minutes, couple of hours that you're not in the picture, they produce a story. That story produces communication. That communication allows her to vent. That venting is healthy. That healthy creates connection. That connection can be relayed as it can be relayed as intimacy. That intimacy can lead to affection, attention, sex. You're gonna win. You're gonna win. And if you're the type that's insecure, it's cool, man. I get it. I've always given this advice when she's walking out the door. You might have heard this before. When you're walking out, she's walking out the door. Compliment her. Tell her how beautiful she is. Tell her how she looks amazing. You can't wait till she gets back. Leave her with something sweet, something beautiful. I know it's not necessarily, and you okay, maybe you're not that type. Slap her on the ass. Be like, damn, babe. However it is you communicate lust, sex, want, do that on the way she's out the door. Do that. It'll go a long way and help you with that insecurity because no other compliment that she gets out there, if she's in love with you, if she loves you, can even match or come close to the compliment that comes from you. So dismiss all that shit because you left her. Like people always say, they'll forget what you said. They'll forget what you did. They'll never forget how you made them feel. You ever run into somebody and you're like, oh shit, yo, I love it. And you don't know really, you don't remember a joke that they told. You don't remember even a situation, but you see them and yo, you smile like, yo, that's my dog. Like you get happy because you remember how they made you feel. And then you see some people where you hardly ever see them. And as soon as you get into it, you're like, oh, this dude. Oh my, because you just know his life is crumbling, everything is gonna be bad, and you remember how that feeling. You're like, shit, man, I'm already going through shit. I don't want to be around them. Well, your partner works the same way, man. Even with that amazing feeling. With that, you look beautiful, you look amazing. It'll go a long way in helping with that insecurity because hopefully, who knows? Hopefully, when she gets home, she has a couple in her, and she'll do that little trick that you like. Doesn't always work, but sometimes why not? But the point being is, don't forget who you are. Don't get lost in the sauce, man. I was talking to a lady yesterday, and she was like, the typical, my kids are out of the house, they're grown, so we're just staying married till the last one settles in and we're done, we're out of here. We're going to go our own way, we're divorced. Believe in each other. And when you start to have conversation, it's the same pattern for a lot of these couples. They started to live for their children. When you first start dating, it's direct communication. It's direct communication. Me to you, you to me. I know how you feel. You know how I feel. There is no misinterpretation that when I say this, you're not listening to my tone. You're actually paying attention to what I'm trying to say because the communication is there and we understand what we're saying to each other. When kids are born, it's like the phone game. Or when life starts to happen, it's like the phone game. I'd say something to you, by the time it gets to the fourth or fifth person, it's been lost in translation. And for each kid that comes along, the further apart you can go. That's why it's important to supplement that communication that you have and separate it completely between the conversation that you have with your spouse or your significant other. A lot of times at night, you get pillow talk. Think about pillow talk, but expanded. Most of us, you get a bed and there's a partner with you, and you start to talk about, things that happen in your day, things that you're worried about, things that stretch you out. Sometimes you're quiet, you're just thinking, and it gives the partner opportunity to be like, yo, what's wrong? So think about pillow talk expanded. Whatever you guys do at night, if you guys are still communicating at that time, that 15, 20 minutes before bed, no matter how, use that time, think about that and expand it. That's that quality conversation that I'm talking about. Everything else surrounding your marriage, your situation, your wedding, whatever is, did we pick up? Did we do? Did we take? What time do the kids? What time do they need? What time da da da? That's not direct communication. That's task related, and it's healthy for a couple to be on task together. It's healthy to couple for work as a team together. But here's what ends up happening and why couples break up. Couples break up because the man remembers she's a woman, remembers she's a wife. Remembers she's a wife, remembers she's a mother. She remembers he's a husband, she remembers he's a dad. He has forgotten to talk to the woman in her. He has not, by the time your kids are grown and ready to leave the house, there could be a 10, 15-year gap between the last time you spoke to the woman in her. For you guys out there, what am I talking about? Let's put it this way. The last time you truly made her pussy wet. It could be a long time ago. That's what I'm talking about, guys. I know I put it bluntly for you, but some guys are hard-headed. Yes, you get caught up. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of times, your actions, she loves you for your actions. The fact that you're a provider, the fact that you're there, that you hustle for your family. Yes, she loves all that, and that's part of the love she has for the husband. And she loves the way you are with the kids, and you're an amazing father. Oh my God, he's such a good father, and that's why she loves you as a father. But why isn't she having sex with you? Why haven't you been intimate? Why can't you get a blowjob? What's going on? Because she hasn't seen the guy in you. That guy that used to pick her up, flirt with her. That guy that used to, get on the phone and talk shit. The guy that used to fucking, talk that sex talk to her. The guy that used to just get random gifts, be adventurous, have bravado. She hasn't spoken to that dude in years. He's lost. And if you lost yourself, how is she supposed to find you? It's not fair. Well, same thing goes the other way around. Man, the last time you turned him on and flipped him upside down, I don't remember. Because you know what? You guys wanted to buy another house. You guys wanted to take a mortgage. You guys had to take the kids to wrestling. You guys had to take the kids to this. You had to do that. You had to go here, work, convention, dot, 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 dot. And that's why he loves you as the mother of his children. And that's why he loves you as a wife. But they're not doing it for him as a woman anymore. He looks at you and he's just like, you look warm about you. He's not turned on by you. He likes you, he loves you, but he's not turned on by you. And that's important. Because in the end, it's going to sound crazy. In the end, the couples that stay together are not the ones that survive the children or were good business partners. In the end, The people that survive are the ones that chose to stay and like each other. They literally look at each other and say, kids are gone. You know what? I fucking like you. I like you, man. I want to have fun with you. I want to go to the comedy. I want to go on vacation with you. I want to travel the world with you. I like you. And he looks at her and says, fucking wife is hot, bro. Look at that smile. You still make me laugh. Hell yeah. I like you. Now I'm using the word like, as a substitute for a bigger word, like I love you. It's love. But to picture what I'm trying to tell you, you look across, kids are grown, you're in a big house, right? The kids are gone, empty nest syndrome, kids are gone. Now you're looking at each other and it's like, I don't have to be here anymore. My obligations are over. I did what I had to do. Now I can literally live my second life. You will only live your second life with somebody you like, because now your happiness becomes a priority. And if you're not part of my happiness, it's usually because I don't feel good when I'm around you. So my advice is throughout your relationship, and this is easy to say, oh, don't stop courting each other. Don't stop courting each other. Court each other. Talk to each other. Yeah, Mike, how? What the fuck? What does that mean when I can't stand this person anymore? What does it mean when the mere looking at them drives my pussy up? What does it mean when, I rather bang my neighbor than look at my wife? What does it mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you, you're oversimplifying it. No, what I'm trying to tell you is if you start early, it's easier to address the brakes than it is to fix the dent in the car. Be proactive, not reactive to your relationship. Peep around the corner, see things coming. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs. When people truly love each other and care about each other, they go through dry spells where they don't like each other. That's perfectly normal. For a year and a half, 2 years, I didn't like her. I couldn't stand her. We got on each other's nerve. We didn't have sex. But that's the opposite of it, not loving each other. You can still love each other and go through those dry spells. That's why I talk about on the highs you find love and happiness. On the lows you gain the wisdom, because you study the lows. How did we get there? What happened? What argument? What situation? Was it over a family member? Did I disregard his feelings? Did he misinterpret something that I said? Did I misinterpret something that he said? And I advise you, get help. Get help, because sometimes you need that third party. Just like a cook needs somebody to taste, does this need salt? Sometimes you need a third party to be like, hey man, can you sprinkle? What is this? What are we missing here? How did you take it when I said this? Was it my tone? Because this is what I meant. Oh no, this is how it sounded a little rough. You know what I mean? Those are the things you got to do. You got to take that step. Be proactive, not reactive. I promise you, the dent is a lot more expensive than working on the brakes. Work on the brakes regularly, you can avoid those pitfalls in that accident. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to move on to the part of the show where we talk about my letters from the inbox. I got a good one the other day, and I really wanted to share it because it's kind of similar to one that I've gotten in the past. Okay, I'm going to read you what I wrote. I'm going to read you the answer. Where are we? Let me see if I go with that one or another one. Okay, yeah. Dear Dropping Dimes, I have a question. What makes a man feel like he could walk in and out of your life at his leisure? My ex-husband drops in and makes passes at me regularly. He comes over every now and then after the breakup, but I'm over him. I can't stand his ass. I want to punch him in the face when I see him. Now, when he drops by to see the kids, it's like the devil comes out of me. He's so ignorant and walks in with They strut like he's king shit. How do I get this to stop? I found this fascinating because, as always, a lot of the answers that I give, I find the question to reveal a lot of the answers. I find them telling on themselves. So I hope whoever's listening, if you listen, maybe you see what I see or you get what I get out of it. If not, maybe you go to Facebook or go to Instagram and maybe chime in and let me know what you get out of that answer. First question I have for the person is, do you want it to stop? Do you really want it to stop? The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. And I'll be honest with you, in this question, I'm not reading indifference. I'm still reading a lot of emotion. A lot of emotion. The amount that it screams feelings. It screams feelings. It screams there's something still there, still bothering you. I think you're hurt that he doesn't value what you have enough to be good to you. I think you're frustrated that he won't change. Your choice of adjectives gives a lot away. Look, set boundaries not only in your home, but with your emotions. He needs to understand love doesn't live here anymore. That the mind control he thinks he has over you is gone. Just make sure it's truly what you want. Because if not, and you let him slide back into your life, you will have to accept his way of life. What do I say? Us men, we are like water. We see the cracks in you, and that's what we see through. And essentially, he has seen some cracks in the way you behave. And he's exploiting them to his advantage. When it comes to sex, no means no. That's universal, right? No means no. This is a case where you're kind of saying no when it comes to your boundaries and your emotions. And I don't think men have evolved yet to truly understand that that's as powerful as a no when it comes to sex. We're not there yet. If this was sex and you said no, he oh shit, okay, I'm done. Oh no, I'm out. That's wrong. But because it's with your emotions and your standards and your boundaries, your no is not as strong to him. It's like a stop, no, oh my God. It's not a no, motherfucker. I said no. There's a difference. There's a difference. You're not standing your ground. He still feels like he has. This is why I won't date a woman hasn't buttoned up and cleaned up her situation with her ex. If there's kids involved, I need some type of child support or some kind of court intervention. I'm not into messy. I'm not into you screaming on the phone and him cursing you out. I don't do that shit. I don't care if it's none of my business. Cool, then we can't be together. That's fine. I'll move on. Next step. No big deal. I need the buttons sewn up on that shit because of this. Because of him being able to walk in and out of your life. What he's saying is, I see that line. I'm going to erase it. I'm drawing another line. Oh, you're not doing anything about it? You let me slide? This is the new line of respect. This is the new boundary. This is the new one I'm allowed to do. What's next? Now you can't go. I'm going to just pick up my kid, take him to go get a haircut. I don't care what you guys had to do. Ruining plans, ruining situations, messing stuff up. I'm 100% for a child having relationships with his dad, 100% being involved, 100% loving him. But I'm also 100% for women having boundaries, creating strong boundaries, letting him know that you don't have the control you thought you had over me. That you gave that up the day you walked away is the day you gave up me compromising or being that person. So now you have to back away and respect. But unfortunately, in this letter, I can tell you still love him and you still want him around. I can tell you still, what you're mad at is not that he comes around like he's king shit. It's that when you look at him, you still see king shit. And it fucking turns you on and you love him and you want him to stay and you want to say, F that other hoe. I'm going to stay here with you and I see value in you and I want to raise this family with you because you're my baby mama and I love you. And every time you don't get that wound that you have in your heart, it's deeper and deeper and deeper. And pretty soon, you'll have enough. Maybe you haven't had it yet, but you're going to hit rock bottom. You're going to hit that point of no return. And I promise you, when you feel the indifference, when you're able to look at him and say, yeah, nah, you're good, but no, and walk away, that, my friend, that's the day that the healing starts. That's the day the healing starts. But for now, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. That's the only thing I'm afraid you're not doing. I think you want him out of your life. You hate him. I think that you hate that you love him. You hate that you love him. And you're so mad that you're not getting that in return. And I get it. We've all been there. It sucks. But baby, love yourself more. Love yourself first. And time will help you heal. Like I say, work on yourself. You have my inbox always open to you. Don't hesitate to send me anything and ask any more questions, or if you're feeling weak, let me know. Remember this, the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. And I want you to get to the point where you're empowered and you're indifferent. And you're able to send a happy birthday or a happy Mother's Day or a happy whatever without any feelings behind it. Just very simply like, hey, it's cool. Nah, it's not what it used to be. It used to be, charged and sad. Now it's like, hey, man, wishing you the best always. God bless. You know what I mean? Because you're in a better, brighter part of your life. Not that part was bad. It's just that you moved on and you're able to heal and put yourself first. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate some of the feedback that I get from YouTube and from Facebook, and even though I put the clips on Instagram. So keep them coming. That's pretty dope. And thank you for all the people that are listening on Spotify, Amazon, especially Spotify. That's kind of mind blowing, man. That's kind of mind blowing how many streams I'm getting on there. That's pretty dope to know that my message is getting across the United States into different countries, and people are actually, and I have repeat listeners, and I have people that are, sending me emails from different countries talking about, I'm like, what do you listen? You listen to me where? That's dope, man. It feels good. And I'm going to continue to, on this little grind. That's only part of my dream. It's only part of my dream, man. Some of the projects I'm working on now is I'm about to finish up a book that I'm working on in conjunction with a beautiful soul named Yesenia Gallegos. She goes by I Am Yesenia on Instagram. I'll put her tag down below. We're working on her life story, her book. It's a book of triumph. It's about joy coming in the morning, and really, after the darkness that she hits, really her rise to glory and her comeback. And I think it'd be an inspiration to a lot of women out there. It's a fabulous story. So look on. That should be coming out about August. She's gonna make it a big deal. She's a big deal. A couple 100,000 subscribers, and just a pleasure to work with. So look out for that. That's coming out. A couple of the different projects are in the work, including a screenplay. That so far the people I've shared it with are absolutely blown away. So I'm excited about it. There's just a couple of things that are on the horizon. And I'm going to continue to do my Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. As you know, I still have my book out. It's called Shallow River to Deep Ocean, a man's guide to a man's guide to understanding his woman by first understanding himself. So Shallow River to Deep Ocean, a man's guide to understanding his woman by first understanding himself. It's available worldwide wherever books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you name it. You can cop the book. It's selling really well independently and on Amazon, so I'm really happy about that. Keep that going for me. Spread the word. And in closing, Mark Twain says the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. I am your host, Mr. Dropping Dimes, A.K.A the Hopeful Romantic, A.K.A the Feminist with Chauvinist tendencies. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me walk in my why. Have a good one, people, and good night. And good night, and good night, and good night. To all my folks out there, to all my...
I know I'm fine, but the money makes me handsomer. Walk around smelling like a come up in the answer for her problems, but I'm not him, I don't mind it though. You don't like me how you think you do, I